The smoky, cluttered workshop of Starcrusher, the Orc mech boy, is filled with clanging metals, roaring engines, and sparks flying from welding torches. Gargant parts are scattered everywhere, and the air is thick with the scent of grease and oil. Starcrusher, a towering orc with bulging muscles and a patchwork of crude cybernetic enhancements, is busily working on assembling the massive war machine. Nearby, a smaller orc known as Nosha, with a mischievous glint in his eye, watches the progress with curiosity.
Look at this beauty, Nosha. This here gargant is gonna be the biggest, stompiest, and most brutal thing I've ever built. Ain't nothing gonna stand in its way.
Boss, this is gonna be the right cannon piece of work, innit? We gonna paint it red to make it go faster?
No, you toothless squib. This gargant ain't for speed. It's a beast of destruction, designed to pulverize everything in its path. We ain't needing no fancy colours to make it go faster. We're gonna smash the moomies to bits.
Right, cannonly brutal, that's what it's gonna be. Them moomies won't know what hit 'em.
No, you toothless git. It's gonna be brutally cannon, not cannonly brutal. We're gonna make 'em quake in their boots. We'll rip 'em apart with precision and unleash a right proper walk.
Right, brutally cannon, I got it, boss. No moomy stands a chance against us. This gargant is gonna bring the pain.
That's right. That's the spirit, Nosha. Now get to work and fetch them hydraulic spanners. We've got a gargant to finish, and there's no time to waste.
The two orcs continued their work, their voices mixing with the clanging and banging of the machinery. With each metallic roar and sizzling spark, their determination grew, fueled by their shared love for destruction and their insatiable thirst for war. The magos stood atop the lofty perch, his mechanical gaze piercing the horizon with cold, calculating precision. As he surveyed the city of Riadam, his thoughts churned within the chambers of his machine-enhanced mind. Disgust seethed through his artificial veins, a visceral reaction to the grotesque abomination of the orc's crude technology below.
These greenskins, these abhorrent creatures.
He mused silently, his mechanical voice echoing within the confines of his own consciousness.
Their contraptions are nothing more than a mockery of true technological mastery. Such crude mechanisms, devoid of elegance and efficiency, are an affront to the purity of logic and reason.
But his attention waned, his mechanical gaze shifting towards the encampment of the 11th Legion. There, amidst the swirling war encampment, he beheld a sight that stirred something within him, a flicker of awe, a trace of admiration. The Primarchs stood as towering godlike beings, their presence radiating an aura of power that resonated deep within the Magos' core.
What wonders?
He ruminated, his cogitators whirring with fascination.
These beings, these Primarchs, embody the zenith of genetic engineering, elevated to godlike status. Their very existence defies the boundaries of mortal limitations. To witness their unity, their indomitable might, standing side by side, is a testament to the Omnissiah's triumph of technological divinity melded with gene enhancement.
Within the recesses of his mechanical heart, the Magos felt a faint echo of longing. He pondered the emotions that coursed through his veins, now replaced by cold calculations and logical analysis. A twinge of envy stirred, for those Primarchs possessed something he could never attain, the personal touch of the Omnissiah's technological divinity.
I am ensnared in an intricate web of emotions. They surge and churn like a tempest, obscuring the pure logic that reigns supreme. How vexing is it to witness the interference of these tendrils of sentiment upon my cogitators, impeding my logical clarity. Yet, I shall not succumb to their whims. No, I am the servant of the Omnissiah, an embodiment of knowledge and reason.
But even as his thoughts danced within the labyrinthian corridors of his mind, the Magos knew his purpose remained unyielding. He was a servant of the Omnissiah, dedicated to the relentless pursuit of knowledge, the unraveling of cosmic secrets, and the unwavering preservation of knowledge. With a resolute click of his mechanical joints, he refocused his attention on the tasks at hand, knowing that his path lay not in longing for the unobtainable, but in the service of the Mechanicum's greatest cause. The makeshift strategium on the battlefield 50 kilometers south of Riyadh was bustling with activity as Primarch Sadamus Hussainus, Horus Lupercal, and Primarch Vulcan convened to discuss their plans for the imminent battle. The holographic map of the war-torn planet Riyadh shimmered before them, displaying the sprawling city infested with the savage orc menace. Sadamus, clad in his ornate black and crimson power armor, calmly addressed his brothers. "Brothers, the time has come to crush the green-skin horde that plague Riyadh. We must strike swiftly and decisively, lest they rally their forces and threaten other worlds in the sector." Horus, towering and resplendent in his ivory plate, hung across his shoulders a giant wolf pelt, nodded in agreement.
"I concur, Sadamus. We shall enact a pincer movement, encircling the city and cutting off any escape route. With the orcs trapped within, they will be ripe for the slaughter."
Vulcan, his massive frame covered in his green and gold power armor, interjected with a hint of amusement.
I'll take care of the gargant, brothers. I'll forge a weapon capable of tearing through its thick armor and eradicating it from the battlefield.
Sadamus turned to Horus. "Horus, my brother, leave the orc war boss to me. I shall meet him on the field of battle. I want to see if the rumors are true and he lives up to his reputation as a mighty orc war boss." Horus regarded Sadamus with a knowing smile, his eyes ablaze with the fury of war.
"Very well, Sadamus. I will look forward to see you crush him."
With their roles assigned, the Primarchs set their minds to the task at hand. The holographic map flickered, displaying the intricate battle plans, troop movements, and the strategic deployment of their legions. The city of Riyadh, once a bastion of civilization, would soon become the stage for the righteous wrath. The Primarchs knew that victory would come at a heavy cost, but they were prepared to pay any price to purge the Xenos from the planet and ensure the safety of the Imperium. Chief Apothecary Ibn al-Haytham of the 11th Legion, preparing for the imminent battle ahead, his power armor, adorned with the proud emblems of the Apothecarian, gleamed brilliantly under the unforgiving sun of Sadamus. The weight of his duty and the gravity of the forthcoming conflict seemed to rest upon his broad, battle-hardened shoulders. With an air of authority and command, Ibn al-Haytham meticulously adjusted the oath of Mormon that graced his pauldrons, a testament to his countless campaigns and the lives he had saved. His gaze fixed upon Abaddon walking towards him, the first captain of the renowned Lunar Wolves, warriors of the venerable 16th Legion. Both Ibn al-Haytham and Abaddon possessed reputations that preceded them, their names evoking echoes of past glories and formidable martial prowess. Abaddon, clad in bright ivory armor that radiated an aura of indomitable strength, spoke with measured tones tinged with respect.
"Words have reached my ear of your unparalleled prowess, Chief Apothecarian Ibn al-Haytham,"
he began, acknowledging the rumors and the tales that had elevated Ibn al-Haytham's name to legendary status.
"Some even compare your skill to those of Fabius Bile, the Apothecarian from the illustrious 3rd Legion, newly named Emperor's Children."
The mention of Fabius Bile's name struck a discordant note within Ibn al-Haytham. A subtle tightening of his fist betrayed his distaste for the comparison. His voice carried a hint of disapproval as he responded.
"While I hold great respect and admiration for the 3rd Legion and their Primarch Fulgrim, I do not find Fabius Bile's skill to be comparable to mine."
The weight of Ibn al-Haytham's words hung in the air. Abaddon, ever composed, offered a soft smile in response.
"We shall have great need for your exceptional skills in the battles to come, Chief Apothecary,"
he said, his voice conveying a quiet confidence.
I trust that you shall live up to the lofty reputations that precedes you.
As the echoes of their conversation dissipates into the wind, the chief apothecary steeled himself for the forthcoming conflict. The air within the makeshift workshop hung heavy with the scent of scorched metal and the acrid tang of sweat. Primarch Vulcan, his massive frame hunched over a workbench, toiled tirelessly on a weapon that can destroy a gargant, his eyes glowing like embers in the dim light. As if summoned by an unseen force, the Undying stepped into the workshop, clad in ancient Easian armor. The Undying exuded an aura of ancient wisdom. Vulcan could not help but feel a strange connection between them, or as much connection as is possible between such different beings, a Primarch and a human. Vulcan paused his work momentarily, turning his gaze towards the enigmatic figure.
Undying.
His voice a deep rumble that echoed through the workshop.
I sense something familiar about you, a connection I cannot yet comprehend.
The Undying, his voice a wary rasp, replied,
My lord, I am too drawn to you. There is something at play here beyond my understanding.
The Undying's gaze fell upon the weapon taking shape before him. A glimmer of hope mingled with ancient desperation danced in his eyes. An inner monologue whispered in the recesses of his mind. Could this be the key to his long-sought release from the torment of eternal existence? With a measured tone, the Undying spoke again.
Primarch, the weapon you are crafting, if it is activated within the heart of the gargant, the sheer power of the combining explosion of the weapon and the gargant power source could bring me the glorious death that I crave. Would you grant me this honor of carrying the weapon to the heart of our enemy?
Vulcan regarded the Undying. A moment of contemplation passed between them. The Primarch weighed the consequences of his decision. A glimmer of understanding seemed to spark within his fiery eyes.
Undying.
Vulcan spoke with a solemn resolve.
I comprehend your yearning, the desire for an end to an unending existence.
If you believe the weapon can grant you the glorious release, then I shall entrust it to you.
With a steady hand, Vulcan held out the weapon, its weight heavy with untold destruction. The Undying accepted it, his hand straining under the weight.
Undying.
Vulcan's voice resonated.
Be the conduit that carries this weapon to its destined target. May its detonation be the catalyst of your final, glorious death. And may it rid the galaxy of the Orc menace.
As the Undying departed, the weight of their unspoken connection lingered in the air. Vulcan returned to his work, his mind contemplating the mysterious bond he felt between him and the Undying. Primarch Sadamus Hussainus, his armor gleaming under the light of Saddam's sun. Before him stood the towering figure of Dreadnought el-Khwarizmi, his mighty form encased in ancient ceramite, his war-worn chassis a testament to countless battles fought in the name of the Emperor.
El-Khwarizmi.
Sadamus spoke, his voice commanding, yet filled with warmth and respect.
I present to you a gift befitting your valor and dedication to our legion.
With a flourish of his hand, he unveiled the weapon, a magnificent power chain sword that had a unique design attached to a tail-like appendage that would attach to the dreadnought's back, crafted with precision and care. With a sense of profound gratification, Sadamus Hussainus watched as the skilled artisans of the Legion Master of the Forge El-Farabi and the Magos Extinctionist meticulously fastened the stinger-like power chainsword to the dreadnought's formidable form. The weapon's connection to the dreadnought power systems was seamless, ensuring that its lethal potential would be fully harnessed. The dreadnought's ancient optics flickered as he beheld the weapon.
My Sultan,
El-Khwarizmi rumbled, his voice resonating from the vox speakers embedded within his sarcophagus.
I am humbled by your generosity and honored to receive such a weapon. It shall serve me well in the battles to come.
Sadamus nodded, his piercing gaze locking with the dreadnought optics. Al-Farabi, master of the forge, and magos extinctionist worked tirelessly to forge this weapon at my behest, he explained, acknowledging the skilled artisans responsible for its creation. Their craftsmanship is unmatched. The Primarch's tone grew solemn as he continued. This weapon, henceforth known as the Scorpion Stinger, holds within it the essence of your martial prowess. May it strike true and bring swift retribution to our enemies. Al-Khwarizmi's ancient vox grill crackled with approval.
A befitting name, my Sultan.
He declared, his voice filled with pride.
Like the venomous sting of the scorpion, this weapon shall strike fear into the hearts of those who dare oppose us.
In the heart of the sprawling urban metropolis of Riyadh, situated on the war-torn planet of Sadamus, a scene of fervent preparation unfolded. The mighty orc war boss known as GigaOrk IronChad, his massive frame radiating raw power, stood at the forefront of his assembled horde. By his side stood Skarga the Knob. GigaOrk IronChad's booming voice echoed across the gathering, his words dripping with a characteristic orky swagger.
Listen up, you gits. Gather round and let me tell ya. I'm the meanest, toughest greenskin you've ever laid eyes on. Look at these arms. They're the beefiest you'll ever see. Packed with muscle they are, and ready to pulverize any oomy fool who dare crosses my path. I live for the thrill of hand-to-hand combat, feeling the bones snap and the blood spill. Ain't nothing more satisfying than tearing through the enemies like a greenskin whirlwind. I'm telling you lads, I'm the strongest war boss around. No one's gonna match my might or my muscularianess. I've crushed armies, stomped on tanks, and left a trail of destruction in my wake. Do me leader? Ha! He's gonna be nothing but a pile of scraps when I'm done with him. I'll tear him to shreds, bit by bit. But that ain't all, my boys. I've got myself a secret weapon up my sleeve. Oh, the homies won't know what hit 'em. I'm gonna make them tremble in fear, writhe in agony. I can't wait to unleash it. Watch them cower before the mighty GigaOrk.
As the orc horde roared in approval, their anticipation reached a crescendo. GigaOrk's confidence was infectious, fueling the flames of the warg to greater heights. The deafening roar of bolter fire and the thunderous clash of power weapons filled the air as Lieutenant Khalid of the 1st Company and his battle brother Hamza fought side by side against the relentless onslaught of orcs on the outskirts of the city of Riyadh. As Khalid parried a savage swing from an orc chopper, he glanced over at Hamza, who was locked in combat with 2 greenskins. With a swift strike, Hamza dispatched the massive orc in front of him, while another even bigger orc was flanking him from the left.
Hamza, watch your left!
Khalid shouted, deflecting the blow from the charging orc with his own sword. Hamza swiftly spun around, his power sword slicing the air and severing the orc's arm.
Thanks, brother.
Khalid grinned beneath his helmet.
These greenskins are relentless,
but we cannot afford to let our guard down. They continued their deadly dance with the orcs.
Khalid, their numbers are overwhelming. We need to thin them out.
Hamza called out, parrying a series of frenzied attacks.
You are right, Hamza. Let's draw them into a tighter formation.
We have a better chance at cutting them down. Khalid replied, executing a flawless spinning strike that felled 2 orcs at once. Their swords moved in a blur, striking with deadly precision. The orcs were driven back by the coordinated assault, struggling to attack the 2 Space Marines. Amidst the chaos and carnage, the 2 Space Marines managed to find a brief respite. Hamza, his power sword crackling with energy, turned to the towering presence of Lieutenant Khalid, smeared in blood and grime on his battle-scarred armor.
Lieutenant,
Hamza began, his voice barely audible over the cacophony of war.
I've been thinking, you might be the finest swordsman of the 11th Legion. Perhaps even the greatest in all the legions.
Khalid's lips curled into a faint smile beneath his helmet as he regarded his battle brother.
You flatter me, Hamza, but I won't deny that I have honed my skills with a blade, both in the practice cages and against the countless enemies we face on this crusade. With admiration and respect, imagine Lieutenant Khalid being spoken of in the same breath as Lucius of the 3rd Legion. His swordsmanship is legendary, and rightfully so, but I have seen you best him in the practice bouts more than once. To win against Lucius was no small feat, Hamza, but let us not forget that among our cousins in the Raven Guard, there is a space marine within their ranks, whispered to be unmatched in the art of the blade. Perhaps someday fate will bring us face to face with him. Hamza nodded. If that day comes, Lieutenant Khalid, I have no doubt you will demonstrate the might and skill of the 11th Legion. You have proven time and time again that you are a force to be reckoned with, and no one shall stand above you. Khalid placed a gauntleted hand on Hamza's shoulder. Remember, Hamza, it is not solely about skill with a blade. It is about the unwavering dedication to our cause. Our legion, our emperor, they demand our absolute loyalty. Skill alone cannot define a master swordsman. Hamza nodded in understanding. You are right, Lieutenant Khalid. We fight not for personal glory, but for the Imperium and all that it stands for. Together, we shall vanquish these greenskins and bring honor to the 11th Legion. With renewed determination, the 2 Space Marines raised their weapons and plunged back into the maelstrom of battle. They became a whirlwind of death and destruction, their blades cleaving through the ranks of orcs with deadly precision. In that moment, they were not just Khalid and Hamza, but the embodiment of the Emperor's wrath, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. The orc battlefield was a chaotic maelstrom of violence, with the greenskins swarming in waves, their crude weaponry clashing against the might of the Space Marines. Amidst the carnage stood Al-Khwarizmi, a mighty dreadnought of the 11th Legion, his towering frame adorned with ancient battle scars, equipped with a scorpion tail power sword, its wickedly barbed blade crackling with energy. He moved with a grace that defined his immense size. Al-Khwarizmi cut a path through the orc horde. His memory flashed back to the moment when Al-Farabi, the revered master of the forge of the 11th Legion and magos extinctionist, had crafted the weapon that now cleaved through the greenskins. The power sword had been meticulously designed, enhancing its already formidable cutting power. Its scorpion tail-like appendage, when activated, crackled with a lethal corona of destructive energy. Tarfa, the chief librarian of the 11th Legion, stood nearby, his eyes ablaze with the power of the warp. With a voice that resonated with ancient authority, he chanted the incantations of Sihr, a potent psychic power unique to the 11th Legion. Through the recitation of ancient Baghdadian poetry, Tarfa unleashed a devastating psychic attack upon the orcs. Their minds shattered and their bodies torn apart by the sheer force of mental onslaught. The air crackled with energy as the greenskins were reduced to lifeless husks, their presence eradicated from the battlefield. As Tarfa unleashed his deadly powers from a distance, Al-Khwarizmi, ever vigilant, used his scorpion tail power sword to fend off any orcs that dare come close. With a deftness that belied his massive form, he struck down his foes with precise slashes and stabs, each blow accompanied by a shower of sparks and the anguished cry of the orcs. The scorpion tail pierced through their crude armor, injecting potent toxins that further ravaged their bodies. Together, Al-Khwarizmi and Tarfa formed an unstoppable duo. Their individual skills and powers complemented each other in perfect harmony. They fought with a succinct, deadly violence. With every swing of the scorpion tail and every incantation of Sihr, they cleared a path for the Undying to reach the towering orc gargant that loomed ahead. The battle for supremacy raged on, the war-torn landscape echoing with the deafening clash of titanic forces. Amidst the chaos, a path was cleared. Guided by the indomitable Tarafa, the chief librarian, and the venerable dreadnought Al-Khwarizmi, together they sought to pave the way for the Undying, a warrior of legendary prowess, to reach the colossal orc gargant that stood as the monument to the enemy's might. As the Undying approached the towering monstrosity, uncertainty gnawed at his mind. How would he ascend to the gargant's formidable height, where victory or defeat awaited him?
It was then that El-Khwarizmi, his metallic vox voice resonating, offered a solution.
Undying.
The dreadnought's words reverberated through the air.
Hold on to the scorpion tail affixed to the back of my armor. I shall unleash its power, propelling you towards the heart of the enemy.
The Undying regarded the suggestion curiously. The weight of his decision hung in the air, and the fate of the battle seemed to weigh upon his shoulders. With a resolute nod, he grasped the scorpion tail, feeling its strength in his hands. But El-Khwarizmi, ever vigilant, cautioned the Undying.
Hold tightly, brother, for the journey will be perilous. Do not let go of your weapon, for it is an extension of your will.
A mischievous smile crept across the Undying's lips, and in a moment of uncharacteristic levity, he dropped his gun. To El-Khwarizmi's surprise, the weapon, still attached to the Undying's formidable beard, swung pendulously from its newfound tether. The Undying's smile widened, his eyes twinkling. He chuckled.
An old Easian trick from my homeworld. Sometimes, victory lies not only in the strength of our arms, but also in the cunning of our hearts.
With a firm grip on the scorpion's tail, and his weapon dangling from his beard, the Undying braced himself. El-Khwarizmi activated the dreadnought propulsion system, unleashing a tremendous surge of power. The ground shook beneath them as the Undying soared through the air, propelled by the sheer force of El-Khwarizmi's mighty thrust. He hurtled towards the orc gargant. In that moment, time seemed to slow. The Undying's heart pounded in his chest, his every sense heightened. The gargant loomed large before him, its grotesque visage a testament to the enemy's boundless cruelty. But the Undying was undeterred. As he landed on the battlement on the side of the behemoth, the Undying's resolve remained unshaken, his weapon still attached to his beard. On the outskirts of the besieged city of Riyadh, the clash between the combined forces of the 11th, 16th and 18th legions and the savage orcs reached its crescendo. Amidst the chaos and devastation, a monumentous confrontation unfolded as the towering figure of Primarch Sadamus Hussainus, the formidable leader of the 11th Legion, locked eyes with the imposing orc war boss GigaOrk IronChad. Palpable tension filled the air as the two adversaries stood before each other. GigaOrk, his voice rumbling with arrogance, bellowed,
I am the best hand-to-hand fighter in all the galaxy. I'll smash you to pieces, me.
Sadamus, typically calm and composed, felt a flicker of rage ignite deep within him. His noble features contorted with fury. Your arrogance blinds you, orc. I am the chosen son of the Emperor, and my hand shall be the instrument of your destruction. The Primarch sheathed his weapons and prepared himself for hand-to-hand combat. With a thunderous roar that shook the battlefield, the adversaries charged towards one another. The clash between Primarch and Warboss was a blur of motion, their movements a symphony of raw power and unmatched skill. Even the enhanced eyes of the Space Marines present struggled to keep up with the blistering pace of their exchange. Blows rained down with an intensity that defied comprehension, each strike delivered with bone-crushing force, threatened to rend flesh and shattered bone. The battlefield trembled beneath the weight of their titanic clash. Sadamus and GigaOrk weaved and dodged, their reflexes honed to perfection. With every parry and counter, the ground shook and the air crackled with energy. The Primarch's fists, wreathed in the power of his genetic gifts, met the orc's iron-hard skin, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Bloodlust surged within Sadamus, a battle fury opposed to his calmer demeanor. He unleashed a flurry of blows, each one a testament to his superhuman strength. GigaOrk IronChad, undeterred, weathered the storm, his own rage fueling him. The clash between Primarch and Warboss became a spectacle of awe and terror. Their fight defied reason, surpassing the limit of mortal combat. It was a contest of wills. Time seemed to stand still as the battle raged on, the combatants locked in a dance of death. The battle around them descended into chaos, with the forces of the Imperium and the orcs locked in a deadly struggle of their own. But for those fortunate enough to witness the duel between Sadamus and GigaOrk IronChad, all else faded into insignificance. With a resonating thud, the Undying crash-landed on the gargant's massive armoured plating. His enhanced physiology absorbed the impact, allowing him to swiftly regain his footing. Undeterred by the towering height and the deafening cacophony of the gargant's machinery, the Undying pressed forward. Using his lightning-fast reflexes, the Undying deftly scaled the gargant's immense body. After what seemed like an eternity of perilous ascent, the Undying finally discovered a hidden hatch. Grasping the edges with his gauntleted hand, he pried it open. With a Herculean effort, the Undying peered into the darkness within. The air within the gargant was thick with the stench of oil, smoke, and the unmistakable musk of the orcs. The Undying, his body covered in scratches and bruises, pressed forward through the dimly lit corridors. His power scimitar slicing through any greenskins in his way. Each orc that fell before him was another step closer to his ultimate goal, to reach the mechanical heart of the gargant and ensure its destruction. The Undying had been entrusted with a weapon of unimaginable power by the Primarch Vulcan himself, a weapon capable of reducing the gargant to rubble and ash. As the Undying fought his way deeper into the belly of the beast, explosions rocked the gargant, echoing through the metal corridors and shaking the structure to its core. The orcs, caught off guard by this sudden onslaught, fought back with a ferocity born of desperation. They fired their shooters at the Undying, but he deflected their attack with his power scimitar and returned fire with his own devastating shots. With each step, he could feel the pulsating energy of the gargant's heart drawing him closer, beckoning him towards his final destiny. The corridors became narrower, the air hotter, and the sound of battle more intense. The Undying's heart pounded in his chest, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the Undying arrived at the massive chamber that housed the gargant's mechanical heart. It was a sight to behold, a swirling mass of gears, cables, and pulsating power conduits. The Undying approached the heart with caution, knowing that a single misstep could spell his doom. A grim smile played across his weathered face as he reached into his belt pouch and retrieved the detonator device. He had come so far, fought so hard, and now the moment of reckoning had arrived. The Undying's mind was prepared to embrace his final death.
Finally, the moment has come,
he whispered, his voice barely audible over the din of battle.
In this moment, I shall fulfill my purpose and bring an end to this abomination.
Starcrusher and Nosha in the background, stunned as they see the Undying.
Oi, Starcrusher, what's that Umi doing here?
Starcrusher sees the detonation device on the Umi and the weapon.
I guess he was right, Nosha. We should have been cunningly brutal.
With a steady hand, the Undying pressed the key bindings on the detonator. A surge of power coursed through his body as he activated the weapon of destruction. The gargant shuddered violently, its metal plates groaning under the strain. As the explosions rippled through the gargant, the Undying's body was consumed by a blinding light. His form disintegrated, becoming one with the cataclysmic blast. The gargant, once a symbol of orc supremacy, now crumbling and detonating into a heap of twisted wreckage. The cataclysmic explosion of the orc gargant reverberated through the city of Riadam, shaking its foundations and sending shockwaves across the planet of Saudus. The battle between the orcs and the Space Marine legions came to a momentary halt as both sides were stunned by the devastating blast. Smoke and debris filled the air, obscuring the battlefield in a haze of destruction. Amidst the chaos, the orc warboss GigaOrk IronChad faced to face with the legendary Primarch Sadamus Hussainus. The warboss had been locked in a brutal melee with Sadamus, his gargantuan hands clashing with Sadamus's whirlwind blows. As the warboss witnessed the destruction of his prized gargant, a surge of violent rage coursed through him.
That does it! It's time for my secret weapon!
Without a moment's hesitation, he seized a barrel of promethium nearby and doused himself in the volatile substance. The warboss's eyes burned with a manic fervor as he proclaimed to Sadamus in his gruff orcish voice,
You won't be able to defeat me now. I'm more slippery and powerful.
Sadamus, the stoic Primarch of the 11th Legion, the destruction of the Gargant had only fueled his resolve and fury to eradicate the Orc menace once and for all. The battle resumed with a renewed ferocity. Sadamus and the warboss clashed with thunderous blows, their titanic forms locked in a deadly dance of martial prowess. Each strike sent a shockwave through the air, their fists colliding with bone-crushing force. The battlefield became a swirling vortex of violence and bloodshed. Sadamus, his blows growing faster and stronger with each passing moment. The warboss, fueled by the splendor of his own madness, fought back with a primal fury, his slippery Prometheum-soaked form proving to be a formidable challenge. Finally, as the sun began to set on the ravaged battlefield, Sadamus seized an opportunity. With a display of unmatched strength, he maneuvered behind the warboss, his hands gripping the orc's massive frame. In a display of raw power that only a Primarch possesses, Sadamus crushed GigaOrk IronChad's back, snapping his spine in half, shattering bone and sinew with a sickening crunch. But Sadamus was not finished. With a surge of primordial rage, he wrenched the orc's arms from his body, blood and viscera spraying across the battlefield. With a final act of brutality, Sadamus tore the orc's head from its neck, his fingers clutching the lifeless skull in a vice-like grip. A chilling silence fell over the battlefield as Sadamus let out a roar so fierce and primal that it seemed to echo through the very fabric of reality. The once defiant orc horde stood frozen in awe and terror, their collective consciousness shattered by the sheer brutality of Sadamus's victory. The lifeless remains of the warboss's head were crushed into fragments, crimson blood mist lingering in the air like a macabre testament to Sadamus's triumph. In that moment, the Primarch stood as an embodiment of indomitable power, his presence commanding respect and fear amongst his allies and enemies alike. The orc horde broke apart, fleeing in every direction. Skarga the Knob, second in command of the orcs, froze. Silence fell over the battlefield as Sadamus let out a roar that shook Skarga to his very core. Fear gripped him, and he turned and ran, joining the other orcs who scattered in every direction. The once defiant orc horde united under GigaOrk IronChad's command, now shattered and broken by the sheer brutality of Sadamus's victory. The Ogren helpers, towering giants amidst the shadows, grew restless as they awaited the human soldiers' departure from the desolate planet Saddam. Their leader, the grizzled Ogren boss, spoke with a deep rumble in his voice.
When are we leaving, boss?
He questioned, his impatience palpable. The sergeant, donned in battle-scarred armor adorned with the sigils of the 11th Legion, turned his gaze upon his loyal subordinate.
We shall wait a while longer,
he replied. The Ogren boss scratched his shaggy head, a frown etched upon his weathered face.
I ain't thinking he's coming out of that one, boss,
he grumbled, concern evident in his tone.
The explosion was too damn big.
A flicker of amusement danced in the soldier's eyes as he regarded his loyal companion.
Have you forgotten who we speak of?
He replied, his voice ever so slightly tinged with doubt.
But maybe this could have been it.
I wish the undying could find his final death, the sergeant whispered to himself. As their words intertwined, another soldier perched atop a crumbling ruin, caught sight of a distant silhouette emerging from the colossal crater left by Primarch Vulcan's devastating weapon, a figure they knew all too well. Sadness and joy filled the sergeant's voice.
I guess not even a Primarch's weapon can kill him.
On the dimly lit chamber aboard Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, Horus Lupercal stood tall and imposing. Before him, Abaddon, the first captain of the Lunar Wolf Legion, knelt in reverence. As the echoes of the recent Orc campaign on the planet Saddam reverberated in their minds, Horus broke the silence. Abaddon, I must confess, I was truly taken back by the sheer brutality displayed by my calm brother. I expected strategic brilliance, yes, but the ferocity unleashed upon the greenskin war boss surpassed even my wildest expectations.
Abaddon, his eyes fixed upon the floor, listened intently, his voice tinged with curiosity.
Is that the legendary inner anger that rests beneath the surface of Lord Sadamus's calmness? The one we have heard so much about, my lord?
Horus nodded solemnly, his gaze distant as he recalled the carnage unleashed upon Saudus.
Indeed, Abaddon. Sadamus, Primarch of the 11th Legion, is a man of contradictions. Beneath his serene demeanor lies a tempestuous rage, like a dormant volcano ready to erupt. It seems my brother has found a way to harness that fury, to unleash it upon his foes with devastating effect.
Abaddon's gaze lifted, meeting Horus's piercing eyes.
To think that Lord Sadamus, the epitome of tranquility, could possess such a tempestuous nature. It is both awe-inspiring and terrifying.
Horus's voice carried a note of caution.
Indeed, Abaddon. But we must always be mindful of the darkness within us all. The bonds that hold our legions together are forged not only by loyalty, but also by the understanding of the darkness we share. It is a delicate balance, one that we must never forget.
As the weight of their conversation hung in the air, a glimmer of intrigue crossed Horus's face.
There is something more, Abaddon. Amidst the wreckage and destruction on Saudus, I caught a glimpse of the Imperial Army's leader under Sadamus, known as the Undying. But it cannot be, for he was eradicated by my brother Vulcan's weapon that destroyed the filthy Xenos' gargant. But I saw him. He seemed like a spectre emerging from the depths of despair. I cannot shake the feeling that he holds a significant role in the events to come. We shall keep a watchful eye, Abaddon. In this turbulent age, no stone must be left unturned, no secret left undiscovered.